All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. All the families that come in late are now going to have to sit up front nice and close. Good evening, and thank you very much for coming. My name is Tammy Rebello, and I am the principal here at HOD, this wonderful place to be, and we are so excited that you're going to be part of our HOD family. As I look around the room tonight as you are coming in, I can see lots of different journeys. We have some families that are going to be sending their last kiddo off, and then we have some new families that are just starting their school journey. Every child handles that milestone in a different way. I currently have 3 children, 22, 20, and 17, and I can still remember my send-offs. I feel like some send-offs were very teary, and I was crying in the car after they left, and then others I was happily taking pictures and waving goodbye, and we were on our merry way to start our first day in kindergarten. I think we can probably relate to those mixed emotions as caregivers and as your children are going to be starting. So we are all here to support that very first day, the first week, and make sure that you feel as prepared as possible to start that journey with us. So tonight is all about you and your family and your journey here at HOD. We want to help this transition go as smoothly as possible for you and your child. To start, I would like to introduce our panel. We have lots of members of our HOD family to talk to you tonight with different information that will help you along the way and prepare you for that first day of kindergarten. First, way down at the end, this is Mr. Drogan. He is our new adjustment counselor. He started this year, and he's a wonderful addition to our family. Then we have Melissa Sear. She is on the board of our CPAC, so we'll be learning a little bit about that. We have Allison Smith. She is a member of our PTO, so she'll be presenting about helping out our school community. We have Dr. Tupper, the Director of Special Education. And we have Kristen Jaffoon. She is the assistant principal here. And then we have our wonderful K-team. So we have Miss Day, and then we have Mrs. Pfeiffer, Mrs. Cataldo, Mrs. DeGear, Ms. McCracken, and Mrs. Previtt. So we'll be, oh, yep, you can raise your hand. We also have Tanya in the audience who will have her little one be coming, and she is the manager of our cafeteria staff. So we're also proud to have her on board this year, and now we will get to have her family with us at the start of the year. So our agenda tonight will cover many areas. It will include opportunities that you can experience through our PTO, our CPAC, important steps and requirements that you need in order to start kindergarten. You'll learn a little bit about the screening process. But if you take one thing away tonight, as you're going to hear a lot of information, I want you to remember this. Every single child is unique, and they all are going to learn in their own way at their own pace. And that's the heart of what we do here. And we're going to embrace every child that comes to HOD in their readiness to learn. So over the course of the evening, we'll discuss the essential readiness. What do you need to look for parents to make sure that the journey is about to begin is going to be a successful one? We will take a look at some forms and what a typical day of a kindergartner is going to look like when they leave home for the first time. So to kick off our evening, we're going to start with Allison Smith, a member of our PTO, and she's going to share a little bit about how to get involved and support our community. And then we will hear from Melissa Sear to tell us a little bit about CPAC.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Good evening. I just pressed this button to advance it. My name is Allison. I have 4 kids in Norfolk Public Schools. So I have a 3rd grade son at Freeman Kennedy, and then I have a 1st grade daughter here, and I'm going to be having a kindergartner joining you guys in September, and then our little one is in preschool. So my kids run the gamut. PTO has been a great opportunity for me to both make friends with like-minded parents, but also get really involved in the school. I work full-time, I'm in healthcare, I am fully remote right now, so it was a good opportunity to say, okay, maybe I can't be a board member, but I can contribute by chairing one event, or I can volunteer at lunch duty or library duty. So we don't want any parents to feel, oh, because I work, PTO wouldn't be for me. You can be as involved as you choose. I'd also like to encourage some dads or male caregivers to join. It seems like we have a lot of moms, but we're very dad friendly too. So please get involved if that's your thing. So PTO serves 3 different functions, primarily community building, educational enrichment, and teacher support. We do a lot of activities throughout the year, and those are publicized on our Facebook page as well as in the newsletters that come out on the first Wednesdays of the month. We do everything from my family's favorite event is a heritage night. We just had that at the end of January. It's where we come together over at the FK gym and we either share cuisine, a cultural tradition like a dance or an activity, and there are some performers too. And it's just a really exciting time. Some of us come in costumes. That's probably my favorite community building event. Educational enrichment is really important to us as well, as it should be, as the PTO. We provide resources, materials, and programs that supplement classroom learning. So a lot of this is through grants. Sometimes that is to bring a special to the school. Sometimes it is to do a really interesting science unit. Sometimes it's to buy new books if a teacher has a need, or a student who may not be represented in the current books. So we try to make sure the teachers' books are representative of all the kiddos. And then the last thing is teacher support. So I think I mentioned to you one of the ways that I'm most involved, because I have little bits of time. I try to volunteer and sign up for lunch duty or library duty when I don't have meetings during the day. There's help at book fair. There are bake sales throughout the year. We do something called Muffins with My Munchkin for kindergarten and first grade in the fall. These are little sort of social events that supplement the early education, the learning to make friends that your kindergartner will do. So we're really excited about those programs. So these are different opportunities to get involved. This slide is a little bit out of date. So the meetings are on Wednesdays. We alternate them between Freeman Kennedy in the conference room there and our current and outgoing chair's house. And then we also, Melissa will talk more about this, we have an event that PTO and CPAC are co-sponsoring together. Last year, as an example, we did a Kentucky Derby party. This year, we're doing a casino night. So that'll be really fun, and it's a great way for our 2 organizations to work together. And then we have a Facebook group. Please do join. And if you have any questions, feel free to pull me aside afterwards. Also, I did want to mention something that was really helpful to me when my 3rd grader was entering kindergarten is join your Class of 2038 Facebook page. A lot of the sports advertise sports signups, activity signups. Eventually a parent will say, oh, indicate here if your student has Miss Day or Miss Pfeiffer, so on and so forth. So that's a way that parents actually take it upon themselves to organize activities ahead of the school year, like a playground meetup or what have you. So I'm not a huge social media user, but I've learned to like Facebook for that reason. So any questions about PTO? No? Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hi, Hi, good evening. So it's already been mentioned. My name is Melissa Sear. I've been a member of our Norfolk Special Education Parents Advisory Council for about 4 or 5 years, since my son was back in probably preschool or kindergarten. He's a 4th grader now over at Freeman. I also have a 6th grader, so I'll be exiting and going on to the King Philip District as well next year, so I'll be splitting time between the 2 districts. But the Norfolk CPAC is actually one of the many state-mandated CPACs with duties that include advising the school committee on matters that pertain to the education and safety of students with disabilities, meeting regularly with school officials to participate in the planning, development, and evaluation of the district's special education programs, and cooperating with the district on their annual workshop on the rights of students, parents, and guardians under state and federal law. So those are state-mandated duties of a CPAC, but we also do a lot of other things. The Norfolk CPAC is completely run by Norfolk parents, but one of the biggest benefits of a CPAC is really providing a support system for families, guardians that have children with special needs. It can be kind of isolating sometimes to have a child that has a special need, whether that be a physical disability, a behavioral issue, a mental disability. And so sometimes just gathering together with parents that are going through a lot of the same things is enough, right? We do have a lot of other things that we do throughout the year. We do have meetings every second Thursday. We meet in the Freeman Kennedy Library. Often, it's slowly going down. Everybody can see it but me. We do meet the second Thursday in the Freeman Kennedy Library. Everybody is welcome, whether you're part of our organization officially or not. We often have speakers that come for the first half hour or hour on various topics, and then we have kind of our general board meeting, an open Q&A if anybody wants to come and just pick our brains, say, I went through this, or I'm going through this. Do you have a similar experience that you could kind of walk me through? Again, that's been the biggest benefit I've certainly taken away as well. The other things that we do, like I said, we have various speakers at our meetings. We have various workshops and seminars that we do throughout the year. It can run the gamut. We had one on dyslexia last year. We often will do something around mental health, whether that's for the children, whether it's for parents. We try to get different speakers in when we can and have those workshops. One of the upcoming workshops that we have is actually estate planning for families with children with special needs. So we're really excited to have an attorney come in and kind of guide us on those types of things. As Allison mentioned, we are partnering with the PTO to have really one of our bigger fundraisers of the year. It's the Growing Together fundraiser, Casino Royale. It was pretty well attended last year, a lot of fun. We are raising money to give back to the schools, to be putting sensory walks in both of the schools, which really benefit children all across the board. It just helps them learn, helps them get sort of the wiggles out sometimes that they have. And then other curriculum enhancements, of course, those funds will be used for. You may know us, or you will know us, the CPAC, for our Trunk or Treat fundraiser. We do that every October around Halloween. Again, it's so much fun. We have people come and decorate their trunks, and they just have an amazing time. I think the kindergarten teachers, you were all there last year, or we always have teachers from HOD that attend. We do it right behind the school, kind of in the loop. We've been doing it now for 10 years, so this upcoming fall will be our 11th year. So much fun. My kids still do it, even though they don't even go to HOD anymore. They just have so much fun seeing all the people and decorating our trunk. So just a few others. The other things that we now do on an annual basis, we have an eye care disability awareness reading program, and that is all the way from pre-K up through 6th grade. Every classroom has a book read to them by a parent or community member volunteer. they come in and talk about, inclusivity and disability awareness, and that's part of the March kind of Disability Awareness Month that the schools are already doing, or it segues into that month. And then we also have an immersion program that we're helping the schools do for 2nd and 5th graders. So we stay busy. It's a small board right now, but we really welcome new members. You don't have to be a board member. Like I said, we would, as Allison said, we would just love to have people kind of come and volunteer for one thing here and there. That is often very helpful as well. Or just come to a meeting to just talk through if you're going through stuff. We have a variety of folks that have children that have gone through similar experiences, I'm sure. So, all right, any other questions or questions? Thank you, thanks for having me.
Thank you very much to the both of you, and do not worry, you do not have to keep all of that information in your brain. Once your child starts here, we will send out a monthly newsletter, and in those monthly newsletters, you will hear about all the happenings of that month. There'll be QR codes to register to volunteer, so we'll definitely keep you informed along the way of all the great things that we're doing. All right, we're going to move on to our presentation. This slide is really just to talk about the process, and I bet you already have some of these checked off, which is a great sign because you are here. So we'll just go through this checklist quickly, just so you can get an idea of how it's going to progress for you. So the first thing is to complete that online registration form. And then the second important thing is to make sure that you have all the immunizations complete. In the packet that you picked up when you came in is going to tell you exactly what they are, so you won't have to worry. You can actually just bring that to your pediatrician if you want and say, this is what I need for my child to enter kindergarten. And then we will be attending kindergarten screening. You will be getting a time and a date to come in with your upcoming kindergartner, and we will do a screening. Dr. Tupper is going to talk a little bit more about what that screening is, why we do it, and what's the next step in that process. Once you receive the results from your screening, then you're going to start to get information on what our process is going to look like in July. So in August. So in August, you're going to get a packet. The packet is going to have all the information that you really, really want. It will have your teacher's name, it will have the bus list, it will have all the information about what the first 3 days of kindergarten is going to look like. I'll talk a little bit more about that as we go along. And that's the information packet that's going to help you actually get started for the first week of kindergarten. All right, this is just a copy of what you have in your packet. So this is what the school system requires in order for your child to start kindergarten. This is going to be part of your complete registration form. So when we talk about you having a complete packet ready to start, this needs to be part of it. And the second thing I want to make you aware of is if your child has any known allergies, since you're going to be probably going to the pediatrician anyways to get update, it is very helpful if you have documentation already to start the year of any known allergies. If your child has an allergy, they are going to work closely with our nurse and the teacher, and we come up with an individualized plan for that child to make sure that they stay safe throughout the school day. So please make sure that you get any documentation from your doctor. That can be the start of part of your packet that you're going to give to us. All right, this is the exciting part. This is my favorite slide. So this is week 1. This is what is going to be so exciting for your little one. So what can I expect for myself and my child on week 1? So I talked about the mail coming in August with all your information. On the first day of kindergarten, you're going to visit HOD with your child. You are going to get information in that August packet, and it's going to either say you're going to come in the morning with your child or you're going to come in the afternoon with your child. On day 2, it's a full day of school for half the class. So that's when we're going to do our send-offs. And half of the class is going to get to come on day 2, so they can get used to kindergarten in a much smaller environment. There'll be half the amount of kids, the teachers can get to know them a little bit better, it won't be so overwhelming. And then the next day, day 3, if you did not go to school, if your child did not go, they're going to go the next day. So you're going to either get a notice that you're going to go right after your day with the child, or you'll have a skip day and then you'll send your child for that day. So they're going to get to experience 2 days, a half day with you, and then the second day will be with half of their class, so they can come in, get acquainted, learn the routines, meet their teachers. And the process is so wonderful. It's so supportive, and the students really enjoy their first few days. It's not so overwhelming. After that, I don't actually know if this is going to be on a Wednesday. I think we checked. After those partial days, they're going to come on that 3rd day. Some of you, it will be that 4th day, that they're all going to come together as a group. That's when your children are going to be experiencing their bus ride. They'll have tags from the teachers. They'll talk a little bit about that, making sure they know where to go, and that the teachers get them to their destination at the end of the day. That may be a little bit confusing. You're going to get this slide in your August packet. So really what you need to pay attention is, what are the dates and the times? Because if you call up your neighbor and say, well, my packet doesn't say that, yes, you might be going the next day. So your packet will be specific for your child, and that's how you'll know when to come and what day. All right, kindergarten readiness. This is also an important part of the packet that we're going to, that we gave you for you to take home. One of the things that we really rely on is you as parents. You know your children the best. So we gave you a checklist in this packet of all the readiness skills that we hope to see for them to come into kindergarten. I know a few years back there was conversation about kindergartners could have a growth year, they called it. And if you didn't think they were ready the first year, you kind of had it in the back of your mind that they could do a second year. That is no longer the practice here at Norfolk Public Schools. So when we enter into kindergarten, the expectation is that you have some readiness skills that we're going to work on and help them progress with. But the expectation is that when they are done with kindergarten, they are going to be moving on to 1st grade. And we'll talk a little bit about some of the supports that we have to offer when Dr. Tupper comes up. So some of the things we look for is that they can toilet themselves, which sometimes they need a little help, it's okay, but we need to be moving in the right direction. Hand washing, so they can practice getting up on the step stool, getting the soap themselves, washing their hands, drying it at home. Their clothing is a big one. Practice putting on those jackets and zipping them up and being able to take them off and hang them up on the hook. And lunch and snack is big. So we are kind of subjected to Amazon and all the funky things that come, and they're really cool and they look great. If your child can't open them and they're snaps and they're really tight, it's going to be really difficult for them to get their snack, because we have 2 adults in the classroom and 20 children. So we want to make sure that Ziploc baggies work really well. Some of them have the poppets that you can just pop it up and it opens the bag. So before you go and purchase your snack or your lunch containers, make sure that the child can open it and close it themselves. That would be a huge help. And it helps with independency and self-confidence. They will be very proud of themselves that they can do their snack, pack it all up, and put it back away when the teacher asks them to. Another thing is comfortable clothing. So it's very helpful if they have items on that they're comfortable taking on and off, if they have to go to the bathroom or wait until the last minute or whatever. So those things are very helpful too when you're thinking about what to buy your child for clothing for kindergarten. And I would say the last thing is just get them used to some routines at home, which I'm sure you already do. And ask them to do a few small tasks themselves, build up their independence, build up their confidence. So when they come to school without you and their teacher asks them to go take off their coat and put their backpack away, that they're going to feel ready, and yes, I know how to do that. So those are some of the things we look for. There is a longer list in your packet that you can read through and kind of work on. We have a very long time between now and the end of August to get your little one ready. So we're excited about that. All right, I'm going to ask Dr. Tupper to come up and talk about your screening process, what it's going to look like, the purpose, and what the next steps would be.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Norfolk Public Schools. It's wonderful to see you out here tonight. As Tammy mentioned earlier, kindergarten and transitioning your child into kindergarten really, can you hear me okay? A little bit. Really comes with a lot of mixed emotion. And as a parent of 3 children who are now 29, 26, and 25, I still feel like the day I got them on the kindergarten bus, was just like yesterday. And so it's really such a wonderful time. One of the things that Tammy just talked about was kindergarten readiness. And so in order for us to have more information about your child as they're transitioning into the district, we conduct a kindergarten screening. So this is just a screening that we use in order to help to give us an idea about your child's developmental levels. And so we take a look at how a child learns, we take a look at language, we take a look at motor skills, both gross motor and fine motor, and how they relate to each other. And so we do collect information about those areas. So we have a specific tool that we use. It's a screening tool. It's not an evaluation. We screen. It's called the Early Screening Inventory. We take a look at speech and language. We look at cognition, and we also look at fine and gross motor skills. There is a parent questionnaire that you're filling out in order to give us information about your child's developmental levels. There's a hearing and vision evaluation that's conducted by the nurse. And again, I want to emphasize this is not a diagnostic tool. We're really just taking a look through a screening process at your child's developmental areas. Who conducts the evaluation? Our preschool team and our wonderful kindergarten team sitting here. They are all the professionals who conduct the evaluations. Also, we have about 5 speech and language evaluators in the district. They also contribute to the evaluation. So important dates for you to know. Kindergarten screening takes place toward the end of the school year, typically around the last 3 days of school, so that this year, that will be Wednesday, June 11th, Thursday the 12th, and Friday the 13th. You'll be coming to the building. That's where your child will be greeted by one of our educators, and they'll be taken into small groups where they will conduct the screening. It usually takes about an hour to an hour and a half. While they're with our professionals, you'll be filling out the questionnaire. And then when the screening's conducted and it's all complete, you will receive a letter in the mail from the school district that just gives you information as to whether or not your child passed the screening, whether or not they need to be rescreened, or sometimes we may want to proceed with a special education evaluation, depending on the information that we collect. That's really about it. With regard to kindergarten screening, are there any questions in the audience around kindergarten screening? Great, good, great, thank you. We look forward to seeing you in the fall.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, Mrs. Jaffoon is going to talk a little bit about our bus transportation, our safety here at HOD, and how to get involved in our process that we use when families come into the building.
Good evening. My name is Kristen Jaffoon. I'm the assistant principal and 504 coordinator here at HOD. I always make a joke every year that I must have drew the short straw because I get to stand up and talk to you about the 2 things probably give you the most anxiety when you're sending your kids off to kindergarten, right? Bus transportation and school safety. So I'm going to start off easy. We'll start off with bus transportation. We do encourage all students to take the school bus. We have 16 buses currently. There'll be about 16 next year as well. It's important to note that you do not need to be enrolled in for a school bus. You are automatically enrolled for bus transportation when you register for kindergarten. And how that works is that when you get that packet in mid-August, you'll receive information about the number of bus that you have, the bus route, and what time the bus route starts so that you can have an idea of when to be out waiting for the bus. As the assistant principal, I'm the lucky one that gets to handle all bus transportation. I'm the liaison between HOD and the busing company. All buses are equipped with video and audio equipment that I have access to if I ever would need it. I work closely with all the drivers daily. We're all on a first name basis. I train the drivers, myself and Mr. Tarzik, who is my counterpart over at Freeman. We train all the bus drivers from the bus company in the first week of school so that they are using the same language that we're using here at school, know what to do if there was ever a behavioral concern or an unsafe behavior on the bus, how to handle maybe a social conflict between kids or assigning kids on seats. So we do all of that training the first week of school. We do share our buses with Freeman Kennedy. That's like the dun-dun. So it means that K all the way to 6 will ride together. How we do that is all of the HOD kiddos sit in the front half of the bus. If there's room, there's usually an empty row, and then the Freeman children start at the end so that we're not mixing 6th graders with kindergarten students. We ensure the bus drivers are all trained to make sure that all the kindergarten students sit in the first rows. Sometimes that's the first 3 rows, sometimes that's the first 2 rows, sometimes it's only just 1 row of kindergarten depending on your bus route. As I mentioned, all students are assigned the school bus when you register. The routes will be the busing company, so we don't run the routes. That comes from the bus company. So the bus company will get their routes together right around mid-August, and then you'll get an email first that says what bus you're on. Then you'll get all of the other information about route times and all of that. I do recommend that on the first few weeks of school, you give yourself extra time in the mornings because the routes are just still working out and being consistent. The first couple of days of kindergarten, a lot of parents like to bring their children, but then maybe the 3rd or 4th day, then they're starting to take the bus regularly. So the bus routes are not as consistent and routine in the first few weeks. So I just ask that you give yourself a little bit of time at your bus stop in the morning until the routes are more consistent, and then they run like clockwork after that. When you get your kindergarten packet, you'll also get a little bus tag where it's a little string that the children wear. It's a little bus. I don't have one with me. I usually do. That will just label what bus they're on, and that's a good way for us when we greet the buses in the morning. So it's a small campus for almost 500 students, but our arrival and dismissal procedures do really work like a well-oiled machine. And we have staff members that are greeting the buses and dismissing the buses every single day. So it's the same, friendly faces that are greeting your children off the bus every morning. In the first few weeks, we ask that they wear their bus tag. I know they can kind of get yucky and stuff like that, but it's important for them to have it so that we can quickly identify a kindergarten student so we can help them get in and get to their classroom for the first few weeks. An important note for bus dismissal is that this is a kindergarten-specific rule that kindergartners are not allowed to exit the bus at dismissal at your stop if their adult is not present at the bus stop. So first and second, it's a little bit different, but kindergartners, if you're not out there waiting for the bus at the end of the day at your stop, the child will stay on the bus and then be returned here to HOD. We will greet the bus. We get a call and we'll greet the bus, and then you'll have to come and pick them up at the school. We can't release kindergarten students if there's no adult present. And then if there's someone else, like a grandma or a nanny, or maybe your neighbor is picking up your kindergarten student, if you just inform myself and the bus driver, they'll make sure that they are looking for that specific adult. as well. So it doesn't necessarily need to be mom or dad or the guardian. On to school safety. We take school safety extremely serious. We follow very strict protocols here at HOD. Our building is secure at all times. Our exterior doors and our interior doors are locked at all times, which is why when you're coming through the hallways during the day at HOD, you'll see a lot of doors propped open, because if they shut, then they won't open because they're all locked all the time. Our staff carries badges and fobs to get in and out of our building. There's no propping of doors. Exterior doors are never propped. If it is propped in the morning at arrival, there's someone standing in that doorway greeting whoever's coming in if it's not a staff member or a student. All staff members are quarried. They're fingerprinted before they're hired and start working with us. All visitors who must come through the main office, and you'll notice when you come to HOD, if you haven't been here before, we have a double door entry, which means when you come, you'll have to buzz. There'll be a little speaker. They'll say name and why are you here. Our office staff will take a peek. They'll ask, you have to require your name and who you're here for, what's your purpose in the school, and then you'll be buzzed into our little foyer. You'll be locked in there until they buzz you into the main office to ensure that you're safe to enter the office. We also have cameras throughout, like you're on camera now, so smile. We have cameras all through our interior and our exterior that we run through at the main office. We can make sure that those cameras are all working and that we're keeping track of our surroundings outside and during the day in the hallways and such. All staff is trained on all types of safety situations. Our systems and protocols are in place. We're trained on them every year. We do practices throughout the year. Staff practices all of our protocols without children. There are some safety protocols that we practice with the children, like a fire drill or a lockdown drill or a stay in place drill. Those happen throughout the year as well. And don't panic, you're like, oh, lockdown drill with my kindergartner. We'll give a social story. The teachers will walk them through it. It's very less scary for the kids if they practice and they know, when the lights go out, what does that mean and all of that. So it's sad that that's the day and age that we have, but we do it for safety reasons and to ensure that everyone would be prepared if there were ever a safety situation in the building. We work very closely with the Norfolk Police Department and the Norfolk Fire Department. We have a strong partnership with them. We have 3 school resource officers that are in our building every single day. They are oftentimes at arrival in the morning with their dog and greeting children, opening car doors at arrival. They walk the building every day so that they are friendly faces to all the kids and the staff here at HOD. I'm going to go into volunteering, and then if there are any questions about bus transportation or school safety, then you can find me afterwards, and I'll be happy to answer any questions for you. Volunteering, we love to have parents come in and volunteer. I know Allison Smith spoke a lot about lunch and recess volunteering and volunteering in our library. Teachers also have times where you can come in and read to your student on their birthday, help with centers, things of that nature. The process for that we take very seriously as well. We want to know who's in the building at all times. So volunteers will be asked to complete a quarry form and be quarried prior to coming in to volunteer at our school. That's a very easy process. Bring your license to the main office and fill out a paper, and then a couple of days later you'll get the okay to come in. It's important to note too that if you're coming to HOD, you're always going to need your license. We have a little fancy system in the office where you drop your license into a machine, it scans it, lets our computers know that you're in the building and you're safe to be there, and it prints you out a little picture with your license picture and the reason for why you're there, and that's a sticker that you wear throughout the day while you're here. So if you're going to come to HOD, please bring your license. On a rainy day like tonight, it's not fun when you have to send a parent back out to their car, but we do it. It's important that if you're going to volunteer here that you sign up to do so. There's a sign-up sheet with the PTO for you to volunteer at recess, at lunch, if you're going to come in for library time. And you just sign up, and then that way at the beginning of the day we know exactly what parents and volunteers are coming into the HOD that day, and we can plan accordingly for your arrival. Okay. I know that was a lot of information, but we're always available to help and answer any questions if you have them.
All right, we're moving right along. Now I'm going to ask Mr. Drogan to come up. This is his first time with a nice big crowd, so we'll be extra excited that he's coming on up. He's going to talk a little bit about the emotional side of being a kindergartner and being a parent of a kindergartner, and just some helpful tips on what that day could look like for you to kind of ease that transition.
Thank you all for coming tonight. As Ms. Rebello mentioned, this is my first year as the school adjustment counselor here at HOD. So I may not be a kindergarten student, but I know what it feels like to come into the school, in this community, for the first time. And I promise you that everyone is so warm, loving, and welcoming. So I just want to give you that quick reassurance there. The kids will often refer to me as the feelings teacher. That's a lot easier for them to say than the school adjustment counselor. So that's my job, and I am the kindness man, that's me. We're going to talk briefly about two things tonight. First is supporting the transition to kindergarten, and second is supporting separation anxiety, or maybe if some students have some trouble separating from parents or guardians coming to school. So things that you can do to help your child before the transition, before school starts. Maybe take them with you to any back to school shopping for clothes or supplies, because any input that they could give into that process, they feel invested, and that makes them even more excited to come to school. Also, I would recommend reading books about kindergarten or the start of school with your kids. That's a great bedtime routine. And third, practice the new routines. Because here our teachers and our staff are so structured, and our days are built on routines. So simple bed night routines, or in the morning things, packing your bag, getting your folder, your coat. That's all very important. It seems little, but it adds up, and it's very helpful for us too, as staff. After the school year has started, I would recommend cultivating some friendships. So this could be planning play dates with some peers in the class or other kindergarten classrooms, or having your student join any after-school activities or participate in things like that, because that helps them be comfortable at school and feel part of the community. And talk a lot about school early and often. We are here for 6 or 7 hours, so as we all know, a lot of things happen. So there's plenty to talk about. And finally, on that note, be positive and enthusiastic, and celebrate the little wins. Even it's, oh, I held the pencil correctly today, or I wrote my first name today. Be positive, because the students will follow, and that they will build on that, and you'll see their confidence grow from there. Secondly, I like to talk about supporting any separation issues that come up the first few weeks of kindergarten. That was the first kind of introduction to my role in this job, was maybe dealing with some tears at the beginning, but that's okay. Not too many, so it's all right. I would suggest, when supporting students, to first validate their feelings. This is a very important step. It's a normal reaction for kids at this developmental level to feel a little bit nervous or stressed out about coming to school. So validate their feelings and say, I hear you, I understand how you're feeling. It's okay to feel this way. Second, I would reassure them that they're safe here at school, and they have friends here, and they have a wonderful group of staff members that are excited to get to know them and to help them here. And finally, the hard part for everybody, which is creating routine for saying goodbye. I would suggest to keep it short and sweet. I know that we, maybe one last hug before you send them off. We want to keep them in our cars or in our homes as long as possible before we send them away. But keeping a short, sweet, and firm goodbye will give them both the confidence and promote their independence to start their day. So thank you for coming out tonight, and I look forward to getting to know your families and your students as well. Thank you.
As Mr. Drogan mentioned, there are a lot of books that help with this process. In the very last page of your packet, there's some suggestions there for you that you can maybe get or at the local library or have at home for you to review with your kindergartner. We talked a lot about their emotional well-being. Here at HOD, we really thrive on having a common language. Last year, we worked on kindness was our theme, and we had school meetings every month and really promoted being kind to one another, being kind to things at HOD, to adults, children, materials, recess equipment, and we really shared that value of kindness. Teachers talked about it, people in the hall talked about it. I instilled it a lot, and we really built each other up. So this year, our theme was friendship. Now that we have that kindness under our belt, let's work on building strong friendships. And that's not always easy when you come into a class and you might like that one or two that you recognize from preschool, but how do I make friends with the other ones that I'm not too sure about? It's not always easy. So we come together as a school community, we meet once a month and we talk about our theme, we talk about examples of where we've seen it in the school, we celebrate students who have been recognized for showing acts of kindness and friendship, and that's a big part of our school community. So as soon as they come in, they'll start to learn that very quickly. We have lots of students that come to my office to get kindness coins. I celebrate them, teachers celebrate them, and then when we go to our school meeting, they have kind of a moment to shine, to be proud of themselves. So it's always exciting to see the little ones come to the school meeting for the first time. All right, now I'm going to stop talking, and I'm going to have Ms. Day and Mrs. Pfeiffer. They're going to go through probably the most exciting part of the presentation is exactly what a kindergarten day will look like from start to finish. After we're done with that part of the presentation, if you want to stay around and just get a quick tour, we're not going to go into classrooms, but we can show you some of the general areas if you're not familiar with HOD. Mr. Drogan, Mrs. Jaffoon, and myself will stick around and help you with that if you would like. So that will be at the end. Are you ready?
I'm taking this out.
Okay.
Oh, fancy.
I know.
In kindergarten, we would all have you had a seventh inning stretch by now, a lot of sitting time, stretch out.
Should we stand?
Just click on that.
I'm just
I'm
kidding.
not going to.
I'm just kidding. Okay. Why is it opening up to that?
What happened?
It opened up to rest.
I hooked up to the last thing.
Well, you know, rest. How you want us to know.
I'm not lefty, sorry.
All right, so this is a day in the life of an HOD kindergarten student. So it starts off with arrival. As others have spoken about, there will be teachers out by the buses, getting your child off of the bus, making sure they are safe and getting into the building and off to the right direction toward the kindergarten hallway. And as everybody stated, they'll have their buses, they'll check their bus tag, and make sure they head down to the right teacher.
Here is the drop-off circle. You'll be well informed about the procedure for dropping off your child so that it's safe for the main road. But staff will greet your child at the car and open the door for them. Practicing unbuckling maybe once could be helpful as we get on with the process. And then the kindergartners come into the front of the building, and we have staff members there to help them down to the classroom until they learn their way.
And I think
Yeah.
it's important that they are on the
Oh, yes.
passenger side of the car, because you can't have them getting out and going around and getting in the way of traffic on the circle, because again, it is a very fluid, quick drop off, goodbye, and go. So as long as they're on that passenger side with their booster, it's an easy in and out. Oh, did you want to say something else?
No, we're going to pick up at the end of the day, just both of them.
There's a dismissal.
Gotcha.
So now your kindergartner has made it safely to their classroom, and they come in with a friendly smile, a hello. Their teacher will be there with a good morning, and they're ready to get their day started.
Here they are. Here's a student. Each children will have their own cubby to hang up their belongings. There's a little hook, so if the jackets have a little hook inside, a little loop inside the coat, it's excellent. They learn to put their snack on the top and the water bottle on the top and hang their things. Takes a little bit, but we get there.
So kindergarten does have a lot of play. It's not all play, but we do like to sometimes start the day off with a little play, a social time, a way for them to kind of ease their way into beginning their day. It's kind of like, all right, we're here, we're going to socialize, we're warming up to kind of getting into those academics. So some of the things that the kindergarten classrooms have, there's Lego tables, we have a lot of those little pattern blocks, we have like little gear builders, we have a lot of different manipulatives for the students to explore and play and build and really get their creativity out, and it's a great way for kids to connect with their peers in their classroom.
And then a lot of these same manipulatives are then used in a focused way in mathematics. So they've got a lot of exploration time to start. Dramatic play, we're really excited about our dramatic play here in kindergarten. We have rotating centers every month. The team, we rotate a center, a different center each month into our classroom. The kids are always so excited to get the next center, and they really learn how to play well together and take on those roles, and we look forward to it each month.
All right, so now I think we're starting to get into like the real nitty-gritty of kindergarten, starting with rug time. A lot of us start our day off again with a circle time or rug time, whether it's doing calendar or talking about your weekend, sharing different experiences that maybe they had the night before. It's a great way to, again, socialize, use their communication skills, share some stories. A lot of the times we'll do a lot of our mini lessons before we break off and do small group work. We have read-alouds every single day, that we really believe that that's a great way for these students to learn language, learn reading, listening, and reading to your children is the most important thing that you can do. So we really encourage that not only in our classrooms, but for you guys at home as well.
You will often hear them saying rug time is their favorite time of day, just because it's a very dynamic time. A lot happens during that cohesive community time. Or, to be real, snacks are a few times. But, rug time's a close second, after gym maybe. But every day, students have time to socialize and eat a quick, healthy snack. We usually start with a little chant about being grateful, and wash hands before and wipe down tables. We kind of get that whole routine, so don't let them fool you when they get home. They know how to clean up after themselves and do all that eventually.
So here we have some little kindergarten friends working together with math centers. We oftentimes, again, like we said, we come whole group, learn a little mini lesson, break off, whether it's a small group with a teacher or, again, engaging in an activity with one peer or even a couple friends playing a little math game or an activity that they can continue their math learning and expand, working together and learning from each other, not only from us teachers.
They love math too. They love it all, really. Literacy centers, again, we have home group instruction, small group instruction, and independent learning. Here's a picture of one of our little cherubs doing a sound rainbow game with pictures and letters. Lots of activities like this to reinforce and to help them grow.
And I think I just wanted to point out, like if you look at this picture, it looks like they're probably playing a beginning sounds or maybe even a rhyming game. So between now and the beginning of kindergarten, take any opportunity you can, whether it's a car ride or you're grocery shopping or something like that. Encourage learning, make it a game. They don't even realize that they're learning, you know, sit in the car and say, what word rhymes with hat? Or you're in the grocery store and let's see how many things in this aisle we can find that starts with a k sound. Those are very important foundational skills that will help your child once they get to kindergarten and help enhance their reading eventually. These guys will be leaving kindergarten reading books. So encourage whatever you can do at home, make it fun so they don't even realize that they're learning and they don't get frustrated or annoyed that you're making them do more work. I think the more we make it fun and playful for them, the more likely they're going to be more engaged and active in their own learning.
She has a lot of great ideas tonight, folks. Everything she does. Art Center, it's really important to give the children opportunities to grow their fine motor skills and be creative. This is a tear and paper activity here, which again, working on your printer skills and patterning, and they get so invested. They love doing all things art. So we have experiences for that as well.
So here we have handwriting. We have our new ELA program. It comes with their own handwriting program. We encourage, every time we learn a new letter, we practice writing that letter. We encourage them to practice it at home, whether it's on a whiteboard, a piece of paper, outside on your driveway with chalk. You know, we start to really make sure that they're forming their letters the correct way. So we try to ask you as well to encourage them to do it the correct way. If you see them forming a letter incorrectly, just remind them, oh, start at the top, because that will help them when they're writing their books in kindergarten, to write a little bit more fluently, and it will help them in the long run if they're making their letters the correct way. So whenever you can encourage that correct letter formation, that would be wonderful.
And we're always here to help you know what that correct formation is, and little rhymes like you start at the top. We'll help you with little mnemonics like that along the way. As Ms. Day was mentioning, Writer's Workshop, students learn to write a variety of genres. You think about them coming into kindergarten and really getting familiar with their name, identifying and writing it in uppercase letters, and then working to one uppercase and then lowercase, moving forward to writing about what they like, what they love, and then starting to think about, you know, how to stay healthy this month. Writing about what can I do to be healthy, and they're coming up with lots of great ideas.
That's actually what that picture is.
Well, I did that on purpose. Just see that apple up there.
This is actually a picture of them where they're doing research. This is their research project, and they're taking books from the library, looking through them, doing their outline in their graphic organizer, taking their studious notes of their pictures, and then they are going to write a book of how they can stay healthy and how they can help their friends stay healthy. So again, kindergarten, yes, socialization, play, fun, but there's also academic pieces to it too. So like, I would like to make sure that you guys all hear that kindergarten means business, okay? So, but it is. There's a lot of academic pieces in kindergarten now. It's not like you and I, we're really all the same age, right? It's not like that. It's not just learning colors and this and that. It's learning letters, it's reading, it's writing. So I do want to remind you that those are some of the skills that they're going to be doing, and we want to make sure they're ready for that.
We're not all the same age. I read Dick and Jane in kindergarten. Now the books are a lot more friendly, with some great reading and writing materials. Oh, independent reading, nice segue. So here they are with partner reading, a book that we've done, a large book as a class together, and then we had smaller versions of that children can read independently, and then with a partner. Here a child she has her own book bin. Children in kindergarten have their own book bins, and she's building her reading stamina. We go through the beginning of the year to the end of the year, and we add 2 minutes a month. And it seems like, how can that happen? But it's amazing. They want their book bin time. They start to really covet those books in their book bin. And when it's time to swap them out, I'm not quite ready. Really so fond of that book. So yes, we develop, there's phonological awareness, and we really encourage and develop that love of reading in kindergarten as well.
And they actually take the books, those ones that they love.
Oh, right.
We now have book bags, so we are sending books home currently with students that they're able to now take home, share with you. It's their opportunity now for them to read the books to you. So the books that are coming home are books that your child, it's at their just right reading level. It's their books that they're able to read to you and enjoy and take pride in their learning at school and show you what they can do.
Here you'll notice the shape of the meeting. At HOD we call this the open circle. If you have older children, you probably know that way of coming together. It's very important as part of our school community. We leave an open spot so that we can always have time to welcome guests. We have a social emotional curriculum that is delivered in this format in the open circle, but it's also a way that we gather as a class, whether we're doing an open circle lesson or not. Very often we sit in this way to share our own weekend stories or anything important happening in class. We have newsletters that go along with our open circle. This other parts of our social emotional learning program that you'll be informed about in the school newsletters from Mr. Jordan.
I think this is actually their favorite time of the day.
There's a lot of favorites. There's a lot of favorites.
So students have the opportunity to come down to the cafeteria for some really healthy food. So each day they come to the cafeteria, they have a hot food option for them on a daily. They usually have about 2 choices that they can have at school. You're also able to pack your child a lunch every day as well. And then there's also an option of a milk choice. So milk will come with your lunch, and if you brought your lunch to school but you'd like your child to still have a milk that day, they have the chance to grab that as well.
A lot of children purchase the school lunch. That's great. Yeah, a lot of children are purchasing school lunch. Lots of fresh foods too. Rest time is something that's offered each day as well. It can vary if it's going to be after recess or towards the end of the day. It depends on your class community and your teacher schedules. Having a rest blanket is something that we ask for you to send in for them. And when we say blanket, kind of really being specific. If you think small, like a towel size. Sometimes there's those large nappies or like mermaid tails. Those will be really tricky with the number of children we have in class. Unless you have a super petite mermaid tail, there might be those out there, I'm not sure. But on the smaller side. Sometimes it's helpful if you have a little sack that they can put that in and hang up in their cubby.
And I do want to, like you were saying, the small, our cubbies are not huge. They have their jacket in there, their backpack in there, and then when it's winter, they have all of their snow gear in there as well. So the smaller, compacter it is, the better. So we have, here's on to our specials. This might be their favorite part. This is my favorite. I don't know.
There's a lot of favorites.
They have we try to have a special every single day, depending on the school year. They get to go to art, PE, twice, library, and music. The kids love going and, singing along with Mr. Escalay with his variety of instruments that they're allowed to use and listen to. Mr. Riley has so many creative artwork and activities that he does. When you take your tour, a lot of us have some of the artwork hanging up from his classroom. I know I have one of their activities on the bulletin board. They love taking pride of those activities that they do with Mr. Riley. What's better than bringing a library book home, right? So if they get an opportunity to check out a book out of the library, but if it does not come back the following library day, they're not allowed to check another one out. So it's really important to remember to send that library book back so that they can check another book out. And PE held right here in this gym auditorium is a fun time for them to really get their energy out during the day. So I really appreciate those 2 PE days.
And as families, you'll remember really quickly about the library book, because the kids will remind you they get sad if they don't have it. Okay, another favorite, recess. Here is our playground. In kindergarten, we get 2 recesses. I'm sure they probably would like 3, but 2 is amazing. And we have a morning recess and an afternoon recess. Recess is typically after lunch. And in the morning, it's typically after snack.
All right, so the day is almost over. Dismissal, kindergarten is always called first to the bus lines so that we make sure your little guys are front row in line. We know that they're going to the right bus and getting on that right bus. There's no way of them veering off, hopping on to another child's line and going on the bus with them. Like, once they're there, we have our eyes on them. And again, it's important for them to have those bus tags for the first couple weeks, because we will look and say, oh, they're bus 6, and we make sure that they're in the line with bus 6. Which, that's that.
Dismissal procedures are very well-oiled machine. It is amazing. Lots of children get to their bus sign, lots of support, works well. And here they are again, time to go home, so they're all gathered. And then the teacher will, carry that bus, carry the students out to bus number 12, and see that they get on that bus.
That's the last one.
Yeah. Ta-da.
All right, who's tired after their first day of kindergarten? It's a lot. They will come home exhausted and happy and so excited to share things about their day. So thank you so much for coming. Like I said, we're here. If you want to take a quick stroll around the building with us, you're more than welcome to. Thank you very much for all of our speakers and all of our kindergarten staff that joined us tonight. I didn't get a chance to introduce Ms. Krause down at the end. So welcome, Ms. Krause. She came to join us too, so we're excited to have her. If you have any questions when you want to take the tour with us, feel free to ask along the way. If you have it in your brain, I'm sure someone next to you has it also. So don't be afraid to ask and speak up.